All right, guys. Welcome to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We are back tonight after a 2-week hiatus. A lot happened in the last week just with my life, but I'm glad to be here. Glad to be able to come back and talk about a lot that has happened ever since we were on last, which was, I believe, the Wednesday after the divisional matchup. I believe we were on then. Not positive, but we're back. We're still going to be talking about some Lions. We're going to be basically putting a pin to this season once and for all. There's still quite a bit we got to talk about, but truly after tonight, not much more to say about the Lions. We're going full on into Pistons and Red Wings territory all up until spring training starts for the Tigers. We're also still in the midst of some college basketball, especially with Michigan and Michigan State. We're also going to be talking about some Michigan football real quick. Just some more BS, with the whole cheating allegations thing. We're going to be talking about that a bit tonight too. But hey, like I said, welcome one and all to Gritsville, USA. I'm your host, Christian Harvey. I'm glad to be back tonight. Glad to be back. Felt weird not doing it last week, but we're here. We're rolling. Once again, Gritsville, USA here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back after this.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My name is Christian Harvey, and once again, you're back to our wonderful show that we got going on. Make sure you give us a follow on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, now that it's back temporarily, YouTube at IE Sports Radio. You'll also find us on our website, iesportsradio.com. Find my show there. Find all the other great shows that we got going on there as well. You also find us wherever you find your podcasts, whether that's going to be on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio. My goodness, you name it. We're everywhere. And we're going to continue to be everywhere. It's a big year in store for IE Sports Radio. We got a lot going on, a lot behind the scenes that we're super excited about. Once again, you can follow me at Gritsville_IESR right on Twitter and X. Yeah, like I mentioned last week, had to take a week off. Initially, pushed back the show a day, just due to work. A lot going on with work lately, and then had a death in the family the following day for when I postponed it to. So we just had to push it back a week. Once again, I appreciate everybody that did reach out to me when I had posted that. I had to push it back due to a family emergency. Appreciate everybody that reached out to that. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family as well that you guys were thinking of us. Family first. That's always super important. But like I had mentioned, just super glad to be back tonight. We got a lot to address. If you see me side-eyeing a little bit, I do have the Pistons on. They're in the fourth quarter and a bit of a battle with the Pacers. Don't think it's going to end well, but we'll be talking about that. And with that being said, we are going to start off with the Detroit Pistons tonight. Like I had mentioned, they're currently in a battle with the Indiana Pacers. In the fourth quarter, score currently is 107-96 Indiana. Scratch that 109-96 Indiana. Pistons are in a bit of a skid right now. We are looking at facing potentially our third loss in a row. On this road trip we got going on, we had a 5-game road trip. We won the first 2, and the last 3 have just been pretty skittish. This would definitely take us underneath 500. Again, we would still have control of the 8th seed. We were riding high for a bit last week. When we had beaten the Hawks, I believe it was, we were 2 games above 500. We were in the 6th seed for a minute, and that was very weird to look at. The Pistons, they've been teetering everywhere kind of between the 7th to the 9th seed. But we were in the 6th seed for a couple games, all up until we started the losing streak to the Magic. And then we lost to the Cavs the other night. And now it looks like, unless something drastic happens, which it could, Pistons did claw back a lot last night. They're keeping it close. We'll be looking at 3 straight, unfortunately. As you can read on the ticker at the bottom, Isaiah Stewart was ejected in the second quarter. Basically, he's just full on embodying the bad boy Pistons era. He was pretty nasty tonight. And listen, I've talked about it before, how this team needs to go back into kind of the whole bad boy era. I'm all for it. But when we're kind of at a disadvantage because we don't have Jaden Ivey, you're one of our bigs, we kind of need you to be out on the floor. I feel like there's pick and choose your battles wisely. Now, there is a rivalry brewing again with Indiana. It's been chippy all night for the most part. what led Isaiah Stewart to get ejected. I mean, that wasn't even his first offense tonight. He got, I think it was a double technical between him and I don't know, some Indiana dude that led to a double tech. Then he shoved, I think it was Jerace Walker Thomas Bryant. Shoved Thomas Bryant, and then he proceeded to flip off the crowd on his way out, which was just definitely bad boy attitude. But my guy, we kind of need you tonight. We're trying to break this little skid we got going on. I get it. We have a rivalry again with the Pacers, but let's pick and choose our battles here. We got to take advantage, man. Indiana's missing, but we're not taking advantage of any of those points. Boom. 109-101. Whew. Nice. Fontecchio for 3. But yeah, we'll be following along the game as we go on tonight. Like I said, I think I saw there's 8 minutes exactly left in the fourth quarter. Even when we're done with our Pistons segment, I will be updating you with the score. Hopefully we can find our way out of this when we are down 8, but we're going to keep it moving. Again, currently sitting right at 500. We are in the 8th seed. We'll be talking about more what the rest of the season outlook looks for this team. But there is one thing I do want to talk about because it is fast approaching, and that is the trade deadline. The trade deadline is next Thursday. The Pistons, for the last couple months, have been rumored to be in those discussions for trades, whether we're going to be selling, whether we're going to be buying. Because that was a recent rumor that's come up lately that the Pistons might actually look to be buyers because, one, they have cap space to use. They have the most cap space out of any team in the league right now, in the association. And because, the Pistons are doing really well for the most part. Like, they're not championship contenders. You're not going to beat Boston. You're not going to beat Cleveland. You're not going to beat the Knicks. But they're in there. Again, for a couple of days, they were the 6th seed in the East. The East is kind of outside of those 3 teams that I mentioned. They're kind of ripe for the taking. The East is a very weak conference. So why not be buyers? But at the same time, do we need to be? But there is something that happened that is worth discussing about. It was comments that Malik Beasley had made about the trade deadline himself. Now, Malik Beasley, we signed him to a 1-year deal this past offseason, and God, he's been lights out. He's consistently top 3 in the league in 3-point shooting, which is something that this team so desperately needed the last few years. We finally got Cade a shooter, and he's been lights out. He's been absolutely lights out. He's stepped up tremendously with the loss of Jaden Ivey. It's been very helpful. He's been coming off the bench. That's where he kind of excels at, is coming off the bench. And again, he's kind of a player that I would imagine championship teams want. I would imagine that Trajan Langdon, the president of basketball operations for the Pistons, have probably gotten calls about him. Currently, he's still on roster, but he was asked about it. He has said that he and Trajan Langdon have talked. The elephant in the room is like, hey, are you going to be our trade chip this year? And he's addressed it. He said that, he understood that Trajan basically explained to him that, hey, we want you around, but something comes along, business is business. And more importantly, Malik Beasley has expressed his desire to want to stay here, which is something that you've never heard of from a Pistons player in about the last 15 years. Usually, free agents like that, those that sign for 1-year deals, we sign them with the intent of trading them out. And even then, those players are kind of just ready to go. And we figured, hey, it could be like that. We were, an 11-win team last year. Around this time, I think we still had 4 wins on the season, maybe 5. But no, this year, again, they're in full-on playoff mode, basically. And he's been a huge part of that. But obviously, there are some teams with bigger aspirations that could benefit from having him. I can name plenty of teams out in the West that would love to have him. But he has expressed that he wants to stay here. But what do the Pistons do exactly? Again, you have him to a 1-year deal. You could re-sign him. You got to wait till free agency to re-sign him, though. I don't think they're allowed to just re-sign him now. He's an unrestricted man. We got to stop with the turnovers, man. But he's an unrestricted free agent, so we got to wait till free agency to re-sign him. It sounds like that could happen, but it's those comments that make me a little like, are we just gonna kind of phone it in for the rest of the season? For the record, I don't think we're gonna trade Malik Beasley. I think it would take an absolutely desperate team to trade him. Now, honestly, we're going to be getting draft picks back. I don't really see us getting star caliber player. Like, obviously not, because Malik Beasley isn't even a star player. He's a role player. He knows what he does best, and he excels at it. But I don't see it happening unless a team really gets desperate. And, in the NBA, teams can get desperate. You're going to have to beat the Thunder somehow. You're going to have to beat the Celtics somehow. If there's a team out there that sees like Malik Beasley is the one thing that they need, like, hey, we need better 3-point shooting because that's just what the league is now, they might go ahead and do it. They might go ahead and pull the trigger and be like, listen, tell us what you want within reason, and we'll make it happen. But again, like I said, I don't believe Trajan Langdon trades him. He's just too valuable to keep. And even then, I was listening to other Detroit radio shows, and some callers that call in, they're like, oh, why don't we trade him and then re-sign him in the offseason, blah, blah, blah. The whole Jack Flaherty potential thing. You could, but, that would have to require a gentleman's agreement between Trajan and Malik Beasley. Like, hey, we'll trade you. Go get your ring this year because it's not going to happen for us now. But go get your ring. Come off season. We'll have that contract ready. And we'll be good to go. Now, I don't really see that happening either. That's a lot of behind the scenes thing. And you never know. Malik could get traded to a situation that he might have loved better than he has in Detroit. And he might not actually want to leave wherever he goes to. Even then, another team in the offseason could give him more money. And it's always going to be in the back of his mind, like, they traded me. Loyalty, I can't say loyalty is a big thing. That's the biggest lie in the NBA. There's no loyalty there. And that's also the danger of it as well. You can't expect Malik Beasley to be like, all right, come off season, I'll be back. No. You want to work with him. You want to show him that he's a very vital piece to what we got going on. Unless the whole season goes sideways, we should at least make the play-in. And he's going to be a big part of that, whether we get past the play-in, maybe make it to the first round of the playoffs like that. That's one thing or another. But we want him to see that we want him here. We need him here. And Trajan did express that. Trajan did say, we want you here. But I also do like that he said business is business. I don't see a trade happening unless it's some huge mega 3-team trade because Golden State wants Jimmy Butler. We're going to be the facilitator because we have the cap space to make that happen. But we are going to obviously, we're going to want stuff back. And that's the thing too. There is going to be a big trade happening. Jimmy Butler will be. Why is Kate upset? I don't know. The refs seem to be on some BS tonight. Kate is losing it. But anyways, score is currently 112-105 Indiana. But Jimmy Butler is going to be the big name moved. There's no way Miami just doesn't trade him. I don't know why he's got a tech. Sorry, I keep getting so distracted. I shouldn't do this. But Jimmy Butler's going to be traded. It's going to require some team to take on that money. Money's going to have to be involved. The Pistons are the only team with said money. So the Pistons are going to have to take a contract on. And depending on who's involved in the Jimmy Butler talks, we could demand whatever, really. Like, hey, you want Jimmy Butler? We're going to want this player back because you're going to need to offload your books. Or the other team, in order to facilitate it, Miami, hey, you got to give us so-and-so because we have the money. You guys don't. So the Pistons will be involved in a trade, whether that's buying into somebody, whether that's selling a couple pieces off. I know Isaiah Stewart's a name that keeps floating around. I know I would imagine maybe Tim Hardaway could be, maybe another team just wants additional depth. But the Pistons will be in a trade. It's just going to be a matter of in what way. Obviously, we've spoken before about trade targets. Brandon Ingram's still out there. I get that he's hurt, but he's still there. Michael Porter Jr. is another name. Somebody brought up Bradley Beal. We're going to be in a trade. And I'm just so curious to see how Trajan Langdon handles this. Because it's going to happen. And Malik Beasley, those comments he made makes me kind of a little apprehensive a little bit. Again, I don't see it happening. But in this league, anything could. Anything definitely could. I don't want him to go. I really don't want him to go because like I had just said, the Pistons will at least, that's the dagger. The Pistons will at least make the play-in. They will at least make the play-in. Again, they're currently sitting in the 8th seed, even with what looks like is going to be a loss tonight. They're still going to be in that 8th seed. They're going to be 23 and 24. The team in the 9th slot, which are the Atlanta Hawks, they're 22 and 25. They're going to be, I think, at that point, they're going to be pretty far back. Still, maybe like a full game. And even then, we're still going to be about a game behind the Magic. Once Jimmy Butler gets traded from the Heat, they're currently sitting in the 6th seed. They're currently 23 and 22. They're not going to keep it up. It really does seem like in the Eastern Conference, the 5th seed and higher seems to be pretty wrapped up. Obviously, you have the Cavs and the number one seed. You have the Celtics and the number 2 seed. Knicks at 3, the Bucks at 4, and then Indiana is currently sitting in the 5th. They're going to have another game. They're going to be about 6 games above 500 after tonight. 6 through 10 is where the Pistons could realistically be in any of those slots. They really could be. The Bulls are at number 10. We have the Hawks at 9, Pistons at 8, Magic at 7, Heat at 6. The 76ers are slowly starting to get it together. It's too soon to say that it's too late, but even then, I don't see the Pistons falling out of the top 10 unless they go into full-out sell mode. And again, I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. The Pistons, as far as the month of February is concerned, they have the Bulls 3 times there. They got the Hawks. They got the Cavs, the Sixers, the dreaded Hornets. I hate playing the Hornets. The Spurs, Hawks, Clippers, Celtics, and Nuggets. I mean, looking at that on paper, you should be coming out of February with a winning record. I'm sorry, Cade, that was a bad shot, man. You should be coming out of February with a winning record. There's really no excuse. Again, you got the Bulls 3 times. You have the Hawks. You have the Sixers. You have the Hornets. You have the Hawks again. You should win most of those games. I feel like maybe you could steal one between the Cavs, Clippers, Celtics, Spurs, and Nuggets. I feel like you could steal one of those. They could. They just beat Houston at what was the beginning of the 5-game road trip that they were just on. They could steal one. I really think they could. No excuse to not. March. March looks a lot easier. I mean, yeah, you got the Clippers again and the Thunder, and the Cavs again. But, man, you got the Wizards, the Nets, the Jazz, the Trailblazers. There's no way that the Pistons miss the top 10. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it right now. There's no way. There's absolutely 0% chance that they're going to miss at least the play-in. I'm not going to go as far as saying, they're going to get the 6th seed. We'll reassess that next week once the trade deadline happens. Again, assuming that a trade does happen, next week's show is going to be a big Pistons show. That's where I do my true rest of the season outlook. I'm going to be going month by month again. Tonight, this was just a little sneak peek. But once I see what we have to work with, that's when we'll do that. Because I believe next week I am going to have to push the show to Thursday, which at that point the trade deadline will have come and gone. So we will be full-blown Pistons. This is what the rest of the season is going to look like. This is what you should be looking forward to, as long as nothing tragic happens, like Cade getting hurt. Cade gets hurt, your season's done. We're going to put it that way. Season's over. Wrap it in. Tank enough so you have a chance at Cooper Flag. And here's the thing. It's funny because Detroit radio was joking about it, but I think it's very much true. Everybody knows that the draft lottery is pretty damn rigged. Everybody knows that. Man, these teams hate each other. Yo, they about to fight again. Siakam and Hardaway were about to get into it. Bickerstaff, the coach, is getting into it too. Oh my God, we about to have malice at whatever their stadium name is. Another technical foul. Yo, Tim Hardaway wants a piece of Siakam. Hold on. We're in timeout mode. We're in now live reaction mode. Man. You see, this is what makes me excited about Pistons basketball. Hold on. We're gonna address this real quick. And yes, exactly. Pistons and Pacers being like members. That's what I'm saying, man. Malice at the Palace. These are two teams that hate the hell out of each other. And tonight has been pretty evident of it. Even I think they played each other 2 weeks ago. They were pretty chippy then. Yo, Halliburton's losing his shit for whatever reason. I don't know who's getting the tech shot here. Hold on, they're about to show a replay. All right, so Hardaway's chirping at Halliburton. Siakam gets in the middle. Who started the shoving there? It looked like Siakam did. But they might have called it on Hardaway. Yo, this is exciting, man. This is exciting. And this is what's needed. You know, they need a rival. We are no longer the team where it's like, oh my God, Hardaway's pissed. Hardaway's mad. He's pushing his own bench players out the way. Something ticked him off. Something pissed that man off. But the Pistons are no longer the team where you see them coming up on their schedule and be like, oh, we're gonna sit LeBron tonight. We're gonna sit Jokic tonight. We're gonna sit our load management players out. Like the Pistons are not that anymore, man. Because even if you watch the game against the Magic, which God, I hate Halliburton so much. When you looked at the game against the Magic, I mean, the Magic were pretty chippy too with the Pistons. Pistons aren't backing out from anybody. They are now the team where it's like, listen, we are gonna get up in your face. Again, like I said, they're trying to embody the bad boys team. And I feel like that's always going to be a Pistons thing, no matter what. No matter what year it is, it's going to be 20 years from now. The Pistons are always going to be the team that's going to try to embody what was in the 80s, early 90s. Those were the bad boys. And this team's trying to do it well. I mean, you had Isaiah Stewart just like, F all, like, all y'all get out of here. You had what just happened now. I mean, and the game's over. Basically, the Pistons are down 12. There's less than 3 minutes left. Like, there's no point in any of this happening. These are just two teams that hate the hell out of each other. But that's just nice to see that the Pistons now have true enemies instead of, oh, we're just gonna Kawhi isn't gonna play tonight type of deal. Anyways, back to what I was saying about the draft lottery. What was I going on about? Oh yeah, Pistons have the worst luck at the draft lottery. That is true. Oh my God. Yeah, the Pacers are just going for broke right now. They are just launching threes, and they are not missing. This game's over. But yeah, the Pistons do have the worst luck at the draft lottery. And like what I was saying before, Detroit radio was joking, like, because for those that, oh my God, stop leaving him wide open. Thank God he missed. But for those that watch like ESPN, for those that still do, you've been seeing a lot of Cade Cunningham around lately. You have people that were upset that Cade wasn't a starter for the Eastern All-Stars this year. And every basketball analyst you see, they have Cade in the like one of their top reserves for the league. So you're seeing a lot of the Pistons around. Oh my God. They're shooting from like half court and they're not missing. They have 18 three-pointers tonight. They're shooting from the logo and they're not missing. Damn, that sucks. 130 to 112. That went south super fast. But anyways, the joke was now that people are starting to care about the Pistons again, that maybe the Pistons will get a better draft pick this year, which is true. It's always, curious how certain teams get, those higher picks. Don't want to say much, but very curious to see that. But yeah, who knows? Maybe the Pistons will fall into some luck and get Cooper Flagg. I highly doubt it, but you never know. But anyways, we're going to have a huge Pistons show next week. Hopefully we'll have a huge Pistons show. Let me stop for a second because it's going to depend on if anything happens in the trade deadline. Again, I am like 99% sure that the Pistons will be in a trade. There's just no way that they're not. Absolutely no way that they're not. A team that has that much cap space, they're gonna facilitate a trade somehow. They just are. But I digress. Pistons are fun, even though they lost 3 straight. I mean, tonight's a fun watch. You have them absolutely hating the hell out of the Pacers. That's good to see. They're not going to back down at all from that. And that's what I enjoy. I just enjoy watching Pistons basketball again. I got a free trial to League Pass because I wanted to. League Pass. You know, they try to sell you like, please sign up for League Pass. And it's like, I don't care. I do not care enough about the NBA to want League Pass, but the Pistons just make it so damn hard, even with how terrible tonight has been. But I digress. We're going to go quickly here because I spent a lot of time on the Pistons now. I just realized we're going to talk about the Red Wings real quick. And we're just going to talk about what basically just happened. They're the winners of 3 straight after 2 horrific losses that they had. They lost to the Lightning and the Stars pretty badly. They lost 5-1 against the Lightning, 4-1 against the Stars, and then they had a heartbreaker in overtime against the Flyers. But then they came back, beat the Canadiens 4-2, got revenge on the Lightning 2-0, and then they had a 5-2 demolishing of the Los Angeles Kings the other night. So now the Wings are 11-4-1 in the Todd Father era, which is just super exciting. Again, I don't see what's going to happen here because unlike the Eastern Conference and the NBA, the Eastern Conference and the NHL is very crowded with teams that are probably better than you. Probably they are. And I say probably because they are. It's just, again, this team kind of has a chip on their shoulder now. But they're better than you. They're currently 2 points out of a wild card spot, and that's where the logjam kind of begins. With that first wild card spot, you have the Bruins tied technically with the Senators at 56 points, but the Senators have the tiebreaker. Then you have the Lightning in the second wild card spot, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference with 55. And then you have the Blue Jackets at 55 points. They're below the Lightning. And then you have the Canadiens and the Red Wings at 53. And then you have the Rangers right there at 52 with the Flyers and the Islanders at 51. I think it's kind of safe to say that the Penguins might just be in free fall right now. They're at 48 points. I don't see anything happening with that. And real quick update, Pistons officially lost 133-119. They are now again below 500, but that's all right. Pistons are still fun. I don't care. The Red Wings, man, I want to see playoff hockey so bad. And I know that I said that I was going to give them a break with the whole coaching change and the close to the middle of the season. And that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against them, even though they have been playing lights out since they got McClellan up in here. I'm not going to hold them to it. I'm watching post game right now. It looks like a fight. No, they're all yapping it up. Okay, so that was just an in the moment thing. But I want to see playoff hockey, but I'm again just being realistic with myself here. It might not happen. It might not happen. But that just places so much pressure now on Steve Yzerman again this offseason and what should realistically be his last chance, but it will never happen because he is obviously the golden boy of Red Wings lore. But it really should be his last offseason to make it right. We got to do something here. We can't just have Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko be our highlights in offseason acquisitions. Like, excuse me, like that just can't happen. You got something special going on here. You got these boys once again playing fucking hockey. You are 11-4-1 ever since Todd McClellan became your coach. Take out the overtime losses, you are 3 games above 500. I think that's even how the NHL measures it. I don't even think they include overtime losses in that, which the Red Wings only have 5 this year. So you take out those, the Red Wings are 24-21. You are 3 games above 500. You should be making a push for the playoffs, and I get it. The Eastern Conference is stacked. It is loaded. You have a lot of mid teams there. But at this point, you should really come out above it. I have no idea what the Wings are going to do this trade deadline. I didn't even bother to look because I can't wrap my head around it. Are they going to buy? Are they going to sell? What are you going to do? Are they going to stand pat? Is a team going to want Patrick Kane because he's been turning it up on the power play? Because we only have Patrick Kane to a 1-year deal. I really do not foresee us getting him again for another 1-year deal. Maybe he's bought in. Maybe somehow Steve Yzerman convinced this man to sign him back, even though what's his nuts was still the head coach. But now that everybody's bought into Todd McClellan, maybe he's willing to come back. But even then, you got to keep in mind, he's getting older. He's not getting younger. He's not the Patrick Kane of the Blackhawks time. We got to actually do something here. I just can't wrap my mind around what. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Like, I'm not a hockey guy. I don't know names. Somebody said, oh, you could get so-and-so. I'm like, yeah. I'm just taking his word for it because he sounded excited about the possibility we get this one dude. But I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and throw out names that I don't fully know. I know a couple, but I'm not going to name them because they're pipe dreams. And the Red Wings are not going to be in a position to trade this year. Like, they're not. I think what the Wings are going to have to do, I know I'm going to have to look at who's coming up to be unrestricted free agent in the NHL this offseason. The Red Wings are going to have to spend money, and that's the Chris Ilitch problem. I was actually going to do my Tigers segment tonight on Chris Ilitch until they made a signing today, which we'll talk about. It's not the signing we wanted. It's still solid. I'm still pissed at it, but we'll get there. But it's the Chris Ilitch problem. This team has to spend money, and they just time in and time out. They just refuse to. When is it going to be? We're there. If we just had a couple more things, we could be better than all these teams that are above us. We could be better than the Senators. We could be better than the Bruins, better than the Lightning, better than the Blue Jackets, better than the Canadians. We could be better than them if we had a couple more things. Defense mainly. Maybe an actual goaltender. But they're not there yet. And it pisses me off to my core. I'm going to have to look up when the NHL trade deadline is. Maybe I'm going to have to do my own research on that too. Again, the Wings are fun. I hate to say it, but the Wings are fun again. They're playing fucking hockey. I want playoff. I want playoff anything in the LCA, man. In the Pizza Dome. I want it. I want playoff basketball. I want playoff hockey. And we're so close to actually having it matter. Like, I get it. The Pistons, I think, played 2 playoff series at LCA. But they were ass. They were like the 8th seed. They got their doors blown off of them by Milwaukee, I think, both times. Like, I want meaningful playoff games and not just, oh, we made it by the skin of our teeth. Please don't beat us too bad. Like, give us something to root for because we're so in need of it. Again, I'm having a fun time. The Wings, I'm not going to hold it against them this year. I got to keep reminding myself that. If I keep saying it, it's because I'm telling myself that. I understand you guys probably are all aware of that. This is me telling myself that. I got to remind myself. Every time I look in a mirror when I get ready for work, like, yeah, I'm checking myself out. I'm doing my thing, making sure everything looks good. And then I got to remind myself, don't hold it against the Wings if they don't make the playoffs. Got to do it every time. Got to do it every time. It's just, and this is what sucks. This is what's hard because they're, again, 11-4-1. Might as well call it 11-4, 11-5. I don't care how you put it, but they're winning and they look like they're having fun. I don't know what Lalone did to this team, but they're having fun, and that's what matters. I got that out of my chest. All right. When we come back, we are going to be talking a little bit about the Tigers, a little bit more about the Michigan Wolverines. Just a story that won't die with U of M. I'm tired of it. I don't want to get too into it because I know that some U of M fans will be like, bleh, if I do so. But I'll let my opinion be known. Once again, you're watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to be right back after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to keep the ball moving here. We're going to be going about the Detroit Tigers. Like I said, I was going to do a whole separate thing with this because I was pissed. For my last show that wasn't fully Lion-centric, I did a Detroit Tigers minute, which is where I just let 1 minute go by, exactly 1 minute, where I just went on about how we haven't signed Alex Bregman yet. And I was pissed. So again, when I was planning the show the last couple days, I was gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna do another Chris Ilitch attack. Then this morning, I got a notification on my phone. It was an alert from Jeff Passan, ESPN, MLB Insider. And I saw Detroit Tigers sign. And I quickly fumbled my phone to see, like, oh my God, is this it? Is this it? No, it was not. Now, at first, I was like, God damn it. But it's all right. They did address something. That being, the Tigers did sign former Yankee reliever Tommy Canale. I don't think I'm saying that right, but for show's sake, his name is Canale. Tommy Canale to a 1-year, $7.75 million contract. At first, I was underwhelmed. And then I saw Yankee fans start getting pissed about it. And I'm like, okay, well, Yankee fans are mad about it. Then this must be good. The more I looked into him, he's pretty good. 2.11 ERA last year. I believe he was hurt for some part of last season, but even then, 2.11 is still good. His changeup is what's really good. So this is another signing we got. Wasn't the one I thought we were going to get. There's two that I'm kind of waiting on. There were three, but one of them is no longer an option. Going to that in a second. But there's two I'm kind of waiting on. And I might be stupid for doing so. But this was a welcome one. Again, the 1-year thing, again, just really pisses me off because it was the same thing with them getting Gleyber Torres. It was the same thing with them getting Jack Flaherty last year. Like, to me, 1-year deals are telltale signs of you're going to be gone come end of July. Or whenever the trade deadline is. I think it's end of July. And that upsets me. Because it's like you're kind of already waving the white flag before you even need to. And I get it. Tommy Canale is 35 years old. You just signed Alex Cobb to a 1-year deal. That dude's damn near 60. But all of our free agent acquisitions so far, if I'm not mistaken, someone in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have only had 3. And they're all for 1-year deals. At what point are you going to give somebody term? You just made the playoffs last year. You won a playoff series. You could have won another one. You were so close to the ALCS. At what point are we going to actually try for somebody? And you know that this is kind of where I'm at now. I'm like, is this it for offseason acquisitions? Is Tommy Canale it? Are we just completely out on Alex Bregman? Are we out on Jack Flaherty? I really also kind of wanted, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, I think Ha-Seong Kim, infielder. He was with San Diego last year. Yes, he had a bit of an injury issue, but he's solid. He just signed with Tampa Bay. He's going to die. His career is going to die there. He was a name that I wanted. He went with Tampa Bay for 2 years. I think it was like $28 million. That seems pretty reasonable. Why couldn't we do that? That makes me think even less that we're getting Alex Bregman, even though I saw a rumor. I don't remember who said it. I don't even think it's a rumor. I think it was an actual legit report that the Tigers are one of 2 teams that I think currently have an offer in for Alex Bregman. But then I have to keep seeing bullshit like, oh, he might go back to Houston because his market's not being met. And I get it. You don't want to overpay for anybody. But clearly, his market's not there. He's getting to a desperate level. Why can't you just sweeten the pot a little bit more and bring him here and just get it done? I don't know what offer we currently have out on him, but why can't you just sweeten it a little more so we can just get this done? Why can't we do that? And then, again, the other name that I want, Jack Flaherty. We can bring him back. Even he himself admitted the market for him isn't there. I think he's open to doing another 1-year deal with whoever's going to give it to him. I think some teams are turned off by the fact that he had some like back injections, which is why his trade market really wasn't big last year until the Dodgers traded for him. But clearly there's interest there because I think there's another report saying that the Tigers are in constant communication with Flaherty. So what is it? Why can't we get any of these done? Why do we keep doing 1-year deals? If you at least get me one of those 2 guys, If you get me Bregman or you get me Jack Flaherty back, I'll shut up. I truly will. I'll be happy. You got a bat. You got Gleyber Torres. Cool. I get it. It's 1 year. Fine. Whatever. I'll shut up. You got Alex Cobb. Bleh. Fine. Number 5 starting pitcher. You got Tommy Canale. Cool. Bullpen. Pitching chaos. Like, cool. Great. But why can't we just get somebody to help take us a little bit more over the top? Because I'm at the point now where if we had to at least just get one more guy, I would probably choose Jack Flaherty. I think I would. Because we need another arm in the starting rotation. You have Tarek Skubal. Great. Who's your number 2 guy? Reese Olson? I'm halfway convinced that Jackson Jobe isn't even going to start the season in the majors. You have Alex Cobb. You're going to keep throwing Casey Mize's dead body out there. Who's the number 2 guy? You get Flaherty again. Maybe give him a little bit of term. Hell, you got something going on for at least 2 years. And then you could win. You could win the Central. I really believe you could win the Central. You somehow fucking did it last year. Why can't you do it again if we have more pitching in place? We got another bat. Cool. Gleyber Torres, whatever you think of him, he's an additional bat. They addressed it. Cool. Fine. But Alex Bregman is the centerpiece. He's the prize. And I get that we want him. I desperately want him. If I had it my way, I would get both Bregman and I just forgot his name, Flaherty. I would get both. That would be such a major success this offseason. You signed 5 players. 5 players that on paper make your team better. Even senior citizen Alex Cobb. He makes your team better. Because maybe you don't have to throw Casey Mize out there anymore. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you could move Mize to the bullpen where he can give you 1 or 2 innings and you can go on about your day. You have a starting rotation of Skubal, Flaherty, Reese Olson, if he can stay healthy, Jackson Jobe, and Alex Cobb. That's pretty solid to me. Reese Olson is a fine pitcher. It's just babyface can't stay healthy. I put my Tiger stuff on tonight. I could have put on something Pistons related. I could put on something Red Wings. I'm excited for baseball season. I am. The Tigers gave me something to be excited for. I don't want to see them backtrack. I get it. It was probably an anomaly. You're never going to replicate that again. But you have pieces there. The young kids are only going to keep getting better. I truly do believe Trey Sweeney is going to take a step up. He might not be the shortstop of the future, but fuck, he's better than Javi Dead Baez. Why can't we just do something to just make this team a little bit sweeter? Why can't we do it? Again, I feel like the Bregman thing should have been done a month ago. It should have been. Flaherty not being signed, to me, it's just quite shocking. You leave it up to me, I think the Tigers have 70% chance of signing Flaherty because I do believe there's gonna be a reconnection with Flaherty. But every day it feels like I'm losing hope on Bregman because the Red Sox are still in talks. Now you have Houston being like, oh, like, can we just get one of these 2 done? I'll shut up if we just get one of them. I don't care who. Just get one of them done, please. I would be over the moon if we got both. I think I would fly out my window if we got both. But just give me one. Give me something to look forward to. Please do not make this it for the offseason acquisitions. I get it. They're fine players. Alex Cobb, for whatever reason, you saw something in him to give him $15 million for 1 year. I'm pretty sure this dude was about to retire, but he saw $15 million? Fuck, I'll play 1 more year. Gleyber Torres, he's a fine player. He addresses second base. You move Cole Keith to first. Torque doesn't have to be in the lineup every day anymore. Torres has pop. Cool. I love it. Tommy Canale, from what I heard, good things. Good enough to where the Yankees were pissed. The Yankee fans were pissed about it. That makes me excited. But just give us one more thing. Scott, Chris, I know you're not listening. but in your bones, I know you hear the cries of Tigers fans everywhere. Just give us at least one more thing. Shut all of us fans up. Shut all of us up. You can do it with one signing. Whether it's Flaherty or Bregman, you can get majority of us, maybe half, to just shut up. I will never speak badly about you for this season. If you could just give us one of those guys. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I almost went into my whole Chris Illich thing, but I figured it was best not to do that. Real quick, we're going to go over the Wolverines. Again, don't want to spend too much time on it because, again, I don't want to piss off any Wolverine flappies out there. And I like the Wolverines, but even I hate Wolverine fans. First, we're going to go into the football side of things. So I believe it was yesterday. There was a 137-page document that came out. Again, this is all in relation to sign-stealing things with Connor Stallions. He showed up on the Central Michigan sideline in the horrible-ass disguise. But Michigan's fighting back. They're stupid. Because here's the reality. They have you dead to rights. You can't just be sitting here being like, oh, well, yes, we did cheat, but it was legal. We used the sky cam. We watched TV coverage and just honed in on the sidelines. No, you didn't. Connor Stallions was on the sidelines in a Central Michigan game. And then Central Michigan wanted to use what you gathered from MSU. So that when they played MSU, I think that's how it went. But Michigan's like, you all are overreacting. This is unwarranted. Witch hunt. Like, look. It's kind of commonly known that if the NCAA does lay the hammer on you, the championship title is not going to be stripped away. It's not. But you're really testing fate. The more you fight this, you have the title. Whether you want to continue for the rest of your life fighting the legitimacy of it, I get it. Did certain things help you in the Big Ten? Yes. But you couldn't convince me that Stallions or whoever else was already doing scouting on Alabama or Washington or potentially Texas that season. Can't convince me of it. The team was a team. By that I mean they were stacked. Offense was phenomenal. Defense was unworldly. And it just begs the question why you had to do this to begin with. But you clearly, even halfway through the season, when all this started to blow up in your face, Harbaugh was suspended. Stallions excommunicated from the team. You guys kept winning the games. You won the national title. Hell, you've proven this year that you don't need to cheat to beat Ohio State again. Just take what you got and be done with it. And I get it. You don't want anything to lay the hammer on you because you just got Bryce Underwood. You don't want to face a bowl ban. You don't want to face a playoff ban, get the death penalty, all these sanctions against you when you just got the number one recruit in the country. I get it. You don't want to do that because in the world of NIL, if that happens, Bryce Underwood's probably good as gone. All these signings that you just got, they're probably good as gone. And I get that's maybe why you want to fight it. But this isn't a fight you're going to win. There's so much evidence against you. It doesn't look good. You sold your soul to win that championship. You won it. Congrats. I'm glad we won. I was excited when they won, even knowing what had happened and even knowing what was to come. And a lot of Michigan fans, they're willing to accept that. But then there's a lot more, which I find it funny, is usually the ones that never didn't go to U of M. I didn't go to U of M. But a lot of fans that didn't go to U of M that are like, no, never. Just, you got what you want out of it. You cheated, fine. You're a team that really proved you're willing to do whatever it takes to win. You did it. Cool. It doesn't seem like the NCAA is going to take it away from you because even they can't fight the legitimacy of the fact that you did beat Alabama and that you did beat Washington. And that if Texas was there, you probably could have beaten Texas. Not even probably could have. You would have beaten Texas. You were that good, which makes what you guys did all the more baffling. The NCAA doesn't have a case against your championship. Just take it and move on. It's that simple. Real quick, basketball team. Basketball team pisses me off. I believe they skated away with another win 2 nights ago against Penn State. But, man, this team just cannot stop blowing leads. They have like a 10-point lead at halftime. Then I got to see a sad tweet from their basketball account saying, 1 quarter left, and they're down by 3. Like, what the hell are we doing? Turnovers are terrible. You can't hold on to the lead. It looked like they were about to lose to Penn State. They had a horrible loss against Minnesota because you're going to hold on to that lead. Like, I still believe the Wolverines are going to make the tournament. I really do. I don't think they're going to free fall, but something has to be done. And maybe it's not this year again. I get it. It's Dusty May's first year as U of M coach. He's kind of having to rebuild the program because Juwan Howard left it in shit. But you're 15-5. You're 7-2 in the Big Ten. Just make the tournament. We don't need you to win the Big Ten this year. I mean, my resolution for them in my New Year's show was just for them to make the tournament. I don't expect you to win the Big Ten. Just get there. Maybe win a round or 2. You're a fun team. Goldine and Wolf are fun. Area 51. Woohoo! Just clean up the turnovers. Stop blowing leads. Play lockdown basketball. You'll be fine. I don't expect this to be an issue next year or the year after. They have a solid coaching staff now. I didn't peg them to be this good this year. Definitely didn't think they were going to be 15-5. Just make the tournament. It's that simple. It's that simple. All right, guys. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to be doing a Detroit Lions epilogue where we really put the pin in on what was this heartbreaking season. I've had a lot of time to think about it last 2 weeks. My last point in that I can't wait to discuss because some of y'all are pissing me the hell off. But once again, you're watching Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We are going to be right back after this.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Galise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports. And I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Galise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, welcome one and all once again to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a fun ride. Now I got it. It's happened 2 weeks ago. It is what it is. But I haven't had a chance to really talk about it because, again, I missed last week's show. And I wanted some other additional things to play out the way that they did. But we are going to be doing our Detroit Lions epilogue. The pin in what was the 2024 Detroit Lions season. First and foremost, I figured I'm going to be a good sport tonight. I'm going to be a good sport. I'm going to vomit after I'm done with the show, with what I'm about to say. But I'm going to be a good sport. But when I tweet out saying I'm dying by the toilet, you're going to understand why. And this is why. I want to give my congratulations out to the Philadelphia Eagles and the team in Missouri on making it to the Super Bowl. Good job, guys. I know I keep saying, I've said it several times on social media, I'm not watching this shit. But I know myself. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch Super Bowl. I'm going to hate watch it, but I'll watch it. Am I more excited about the Kendrick Lamar halftime show? Obviously. But I will be watching the Super Bowl. Breaking news. That is first and foremost. I will be watching the Super Bowl. I will not be having a good time, but I will be watching it. Fly, Eagles, fly. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I'm going to throw up after the game. After the game too, but after this. This is where I kind of want to start on the epilogue. I've heard some radio shows talk about it, but I wanted to put I wanted to give my intake on it. And for those that chose to watch the NFC Championship game on Sunday between the Eagles and the Commies, Eagles just laid a shit on Washington, basically, to put that very disgustingly. They won that game, what was it, 55-24, I think. Saquon Barkley went ballistic. Jalen Hurts went ballistic. It was an ugly game. Very ugly game. There was something I said in the middle of the Washington game. Our game against Washington. Something I said to my fiance. And Sunday proved my point. And I'm glad that other people in Detroit media was talking about it after this past Sunday. I told my fiance, if we come back to beat Washington, if we came back and won that game, but I'm going to act like I'm in the moment. If we come back and win this game, there is not a chance in hell we would beat Philadelphia or the Rams. Because at that point, the Rams and the Eagles had not played each other, so we had no idea who we were going to face next. But I told her, there's no chance we're going to beat them. Philadelphia ended up being that team. And this past Sunday kind of proved my point. So, postseason hindsight. Do you feel better now that you lost against Washington in the divisional? Other Detroit radio media, they were saying yes. And I'm inclined to agree with them. In hindsight, it was better to lose the game against Washington. Because here's the thing. Philadelphia would have embarrassed the hell out of the Lions had they come to Detroit. It would have been worse than what happened in the Washington game. Let's painfully recap what happened in the divisional. You couldn't stop Jaden Daniels. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. But here's the one thing that I knew that if we won that game and made it to NFC Championship game to play against Philadelphia, this is what was going to hurt us. Bad. Lions For all intents and purposes, they have a pretty solid run defense, even with the injuries. For those that choose to remember, you couldn't stop Brian Robinson from running up the middle. What was he averaging? Like 10 yards a carry, I think? Every time I saw Brian Robinson run the ball, it was for like 17 yards each time. I was wanting to jump out my window. What were you going to do if that was Saquon? What were you going to do? And not only that, Washington, the only really weapon that they have is Terry McLaurin. What did he have? 80-yard touchdown? 75 yards? 65? I don't fucking remember. You let De'Ami Brown look like Jerry Rice. You know what the Eagles have? They have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They have a quarterback that also can run. And he can sling the ball if he chooses to. The Philadelphia Eagles had weapons. They have arguably the best player in all of football this past season is Saquon Barkley. What were you going to do to stop them? You couldn't stop Brian Robinson. So, yes, we were made fun of. It hurt. The 15-2 season ended way too early. But man, I am actually kind of glad we lost against Washington because that game against Philadelphia would have been brutal. Would have been brutal. The injuries caught up to you. You lost to Meek Robertson very early in the Washington game. You were going to have Terrion Arnold, a rookie, and Kendall Vildor covering Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Your run defense that let Brian Robinson look like Marshawn Lynch was going to have to go up against Saquon fucking Barkley. Your offense couldn't stop turning the ball over to a very, let's call it what it is, a mid-Washington defense. Philadelphia's defense is one of the top in the league. What were you going to do? That would have been an ugly game, and I think fans would have handled that way worse. And we're going to address the fans. I'm going to address the fans tonight. But looking back and looking what happened between Philadelphia and Washington, I'm glad our season ended the way that it did because it definitely could have ended worse. It really could have ended worse if we had to go up against Philadelphia. I fully believe that. Every bone in my body. I don't think Aaron Glenn was going to do something to stop that. And again, that's not an indictment on him. That's an indictment that every defensive player we have just wouldn't stop breaking something horrifically. Yeah, it was better to lose a divisional. And for the people that were saying, and I get it, we're kind of past it, but I didn't get my chance to talk about it, so I'm going to address it now. I don't care. This is my show. For those that are still complaining, because I've seen a couple of you that are still complaining that the divisional loss hurt more, get your head out of your ass. Like, I'm sorry. If you're going to sit here and tell me that the divisional loss was worse than last year's NFC Championship game loss, you're disillusioned. We were up 24-7 at halftime, 30 minutes away from a Super Bowl. I get it. We were the Washington of that season. We won our division, yes, but we weren't supposed to be there. We weren't supposed to be up 17 points against the NFC favorite at halftime at their place. And we were. And we blew it. And that's going to forever haunt me. It haunted me to the point that when we played the Monday night game, a game that we did win, but it was close because our defense was still dead, that San Francisco had nothing to play for, but I couldn't bring myself together to watch any of the pregame stuff because I knew that they were going to keep bringing up the NFC Championship game. That hurts me. It hurts me. That Netflix documentary, Receiver, I know Amon-Ra St. Brown is in there. You know who else is in there? George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. And I know that they talk about the NFC Championship game. They have footage from that. I can't bring myself together to watch that documentary, even though I know Amon-Ra's in there. I can't do it. It hurts so damn bad. So anybody saying that this loss was worse, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. Because we still had to fight to go to the Super Bowl. And guess what? You weren't getting past this year's NFC Championship game. There was no way. I'm sorry. It wasn't going to happen. Last year was such a prime opportunity. And I know it wasn't our only one. This isn't, we're not dead yet. I'm going to get that in a second. But we were so close last year. And it just hurt so bad that we couldn't finish it. That's always going to haunt me until the next worst thing happens. Hopefully that's not until I'm like 70 years old. But like, that was infinitely worse. But in hindsight, again, as far as this year is concerned, it was better to lose against Washington because Philadelphia would have made a joke out of you, and it would have been way worse. In my opinion, it would have been way worse. With that being said, obviously the whole big thing was Ben Johnson prepared because of how quickly he went to Chicago. But I'm not going to really talk about that much. It happened. It's done. It's over with. Don't be mad about it. Well, actually, I will be going into that, but that's not with this segment. We're just going to be going over what the coaching changes are because there was another interesting one that happened today, and I'm like, damn, they just really are stealing everybody. So obviously, Ben Johnson, head coach of the Bears. Aaron Glenn, head coach of the Jets. For those that aren't aware, our wide receiver coach, Antoine Randall L., former NFL player, he followed Ben Johnson to the Bears. He will be now their wide receiver coach, and I believe assistant coach as well. But it wasn't just him that went. For those that are unaware, Mark Brunell is our quarterback coach. He's not going anywhere, don't worry. But our assistant quarterback coach, former NFL Ohio State quarterback JT Barrett, he's now the Chicago Bears quarterback coach. So he's now gone. Our defensive line coach that we got from Tennessee last year, Terrell Williams, he's now the Patriots defensive coordinator. Tanner Engstrand, our passing game coordinator, was rumored to be the favorite to replace Ben Johnson, didn't get that job, and now he might become Aaron Glenn's offensive coordinator for the Jets. But then there was one more today that's like, oh my God, they're just spitting in our face. Our tight end coach, I didn't even know this dude's name, Steve Hayden. I think it's Hayden, our tight end coach. He's now going to the Jets to be their offensive line coach. So it's like, oh my God, who else are they going to take? Who else is going to go? How many coaches is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7. 7 coaches potentially that are gone. Moved on. And I get it. This is a league where you want to make a name for yourself. You got to move on. That's fine. You're well within your rights to. You stayed with us, for some of you, stayed with us since the beginning of the Campbell era. A lot of these guys, very deserving. I'm happy for them. But man, 6, potentially 7, and who knows? That might not even be it. There might be more. Again, our tight end coach is gone. Who knows who else can go? But potentially 7. Currently 6, potentially 7. Moving on. Now, obviously, who do we get back? First and foremost, a lot of people were worried that Hank Fraley, our offensive line coach, very concerned that he was also going to be leaving. I know that he interviewed with Seattle for their offensive coordinator position. There were some rumors that Ben Johnson might steal him also to go to the Bears. But no, I think his wife made a post saying, like, Detroit, we ain't going nowhere. We're staying. And I believe he also got another position with us as well. I don't remember what it is. I apologize. But most importantly, who are we replacing at offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? And this is important to me because this is what they really got to beef up next year. Defensive line. Because obviously Terrell Williams went to go become the Pats DC. So to start off with the defensive coordinator, I'm sure all of you are aware. Again, I'm still going to talk about it. Kelvin Shepard, our linebackers coach, is now our defensive coordinator. He was very hand in hand with Aaron Glenn. That's something I don't really see much changing with. I very much see him implementing a lot of what Glenn had going on, except he'll actually have the pieces because hopefully every guy should be able to come back just perfectly fine next season. Happy for him, very deserving. The big one, Lions offensive coordinator, the one that I was pretty sure Tanner Engstrand or even Scotty Montgomery was going to get, went to John Morton, Broncos passing game coordinator, former Lions assistant quarterback coach, I think. He was with the Lions a couple years back. He was in the Campbell era, so very familiarized with the team. Former Jets OC like 7 years ago when they had a horrific offense. So I can't pin that one too much on him. But he's now the Lions offensive coordinator, and that's where we can see a lot of changes. Well, what those changes could be, I don't know. But obviously what you're seeing on social media, you have a lot of people giving him credit for Bo Nix because he was the passing game coordinator for the Broncos. Bo Nix had a phenomenal rookie year at quarterback for the Broncos, led the Broncos to a playoff game when nobody really expected them to be there. But the question is going to be how much of that was really on Morton and how much of that was actually on Sean Payton, because Sean Payton knows how to develop quarterback. So that's kind of to be determined. We don't know. Everybody's just like, what's the creativity level? Are we going to still have the trick plays? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, it's our trick plays a staple of ours. Like, do we need them? I don't know. We'll see if this dude can unlock something else in Jared Goff. The one interesting, no. The one thing, because I was very, I don't know. But the one thing of note that I had on him, the 1 year he was the Jets offensive coordinator. The Jets had a terrible ass offense. Majority of those players, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and pretend like I knew who they were. But I know that whoever their quarterback was at the time, their running backs were at the time, and I think a couple of their receivers were at the time. They all had career high years with him. Now, yes, you can maybe credit that to the fact that these people had no choice but to be starters. But he was still their offensive coach, so maybe it had to mean something. I'm not going to blame the Jets too much on him because, again, it's the Jets. They're a dumpster fire. So he's now our offensive coordinator. Defense, I'm not worried about. Offense, we're going to see what happens. Historically speaking, when you have a team that has a major coaching overhaul, they do regress a little bit. That doesn't mean the Lions are about to become ass again and not make the playoffs and we're going to go back to being the dumpster fire of the league. That doesn't mean that. February prediction. End of January, February. I'm going to call it February. I don't care. February prediction. The Lions aren't going to win 15 games again. Get that out of your head if you're thinking that. They might not win 14 or 13. I would very much put the Lions range, if I'm being quite honest with you, between 12 or 10 and 12 wins. That's me being for real. And I get it. We have the players still. We obviously are going to have a bit of money. We're going to bring some players back. We're going to sign new players. We still have the draft. I got it. Defensively, I think you're going to be fine. Again, Kelvin Shepard's going to implement a lot of what you already had going on. Offensive is where I'm worried. Because I'm not going to sit here calling for Goff's head. He had a bad game. If you're saying, we got to move on, I've seen some shit like we're going to trade for Josh Allen. Oh my God. Some of these fans, I'll be talking about the fans last. The offense is what worries me. Because we're going to bring a whole new guy in. And yes, I get that Campbell said we're going to implement a lot of the same stuff. But John Morton clearly is a completely different guy than what Ben Johnson was. If I fully believed that we were going to kind of implement what we already had going on offensively, we would have promoted Tanner Engstrand or Scotty Montgomery to that position. But we didn't. We went with somebody else. Outside hire. So that has me really thinking, are we really going to be doing that? I don't know. But we're going to see. And then lastly, the only other hire that I'm aware of, I know we promoted some other dude, but the only other hire I'm aware of is who we got to replace Terrell Williams with the defensive line. And that was, God, I forgot his name. William Lacey, I think. Doesn't matter. I forgot his name. That's my fault. The Bucs defensive line coach is now our defensive line coach. And the Bucs, the last couple years, they have nearly led the league in sacks. They have a pretty solid defensive line. For those that remember the Bucs game, we couldn't really run on them. The Bucs defense was known for having a solid run defense, solid defensive line. They could get to you, and that's what we need. Now, again, we had a solid coach in Terrell Williams, but he moved on. But that, from what I was reading about the Bucs guy, that was a pretty solid hire to replace Terrell Williams. So I'm excited about that, especially knowing that we're going to have Hutch back. We're hopefully going to have a lot of these other guys back that are super important. We're going to have Zarius Smith also still lining up with Hutch. I would be astounded if we didn't even get somebody else, either through the draft or free agency, to also line up at the edge spot. But I'm not worried about the defensive line as long as we can stay healthy. So I'm good on that. As far as everything else, I mean, all the important pieces are gone. Like I said, Tanner Engstrand's probably going to be the Jets offensive coordinator. The only thing major that could happen, I think, that's left would be if Scotty Montgomery went somewhere, but I don't see that happening. I feel like at this point he would have already been gone. I don't see Scotty Montgomery leaving. He will be here another year. For those that are not familiar, he is the running back coach and assistant head coach for the Lions. But yeah, that's it for the coaching changes. Everything's kind of coming to an end. Again, it's just, I thought it was funny that the Jets poached our tight end coach. Like, I'm like, what? Like, what else are you going to take from us? Last thing, to officially put a pin on the season. I have a message for all Lions fans. I have a message for all y'all. Some of y'all need to shut the hell up. That's my message. I'm kidding. I'm going to go into that. It's the Ben Johnson thing. I get it. Emotions are still high from what happened from the divisional game. You felt betrayed because 2 days later, all of a sudden, you went to a rival of ours and he seemed very excited. And then Adam Schefter said something about the lines of, oh, he's been preparing his staff. And people got the impression like, oh, does that mean he was unprepared? He was too busy getting his shit together for Chicago. And then you had him saying like, we wanted to be nowhere else but here. And, that was 2 games or 3 days before your team was dead. Like, it was bad optics. I don't think what happened warranted the behavior of Lions fans. I saw some Lions fans straight up threatening this man. I saw a lot of nasty shit be said. I saw pictures of AI pictures of him standing next to Osama bin Laden and Hitler. That's how some fans were feeling, and I get it. Social media is not meant to be taken seriously. Ha ha, funny. It's not funny. But, like, if this is how we're going to treat people, you don't think that the players that we currently have notice? You don't think that other coaches we have notice? What's going to happen when some players that we love are going to be left to a decision to come back or to move on? Are you going to be treating them like this? For example, this one's going to be a fun one when this comes up. Jameson Williams. Let's say if JMO doesn't get his 5th-year option, let's say that we let it ride all the way to free agency. Let's say he signs somewhere else. Are you guys going to treat JMO like this? Are you? What's going to happen next year if Calvin Shepard leads a top defense in the league and then he gets a head coaching job? You're going to treat him like this? What I kept seeing on social media towards Ben Johnson and even Randall L. was completely unwarranted, and it was asinine. It was terrible. I get it. You're hurt. But you knew that he was going to be gone. You guys were so charmed by the fact that he stayed this season. He could have been gone last year. He should have been gone. He chose to run it back. It's not his fault that that the defense died. Again, if I said this, if the Lions had half the defense healthy for that Washington game, that 31 points would have been enough to win you the game. Guarantee it. It would have been enough to win you that game. You still put up 31, even with Jared Goff playing like ass and you thinking that Ben Johnson wasn't prepared. They still put up 31. It's not his fault the defense couldn't stop anybody, and that's not even Aaron Glenn's fault. Nobody treated Aaron Glenn like shit when he went to the Jets. Hell, people should have been more mad at him going to the Jets because his career's going to die there. What I saw was inexcusable, and now this is going to become a thing. It has become a thing. Other fan bases are now calling our fan base out because of how we're treating Ben Johnson, and I think those fan bases have a right to. We're going to lose players because of your guys' shitty behavior. I get it. I can't say this enough. I understand the season ended terribly. I know it did. But you can't do that. You just can't. Be a grown-ass adult and move on with your life. You knew Ben Johnson wasn't going to be here. You knew Aaron Glenn was going to be gone. You knew that some of these guys that I named were going to be gone. Our season ended horribly. It is what it is. Don't threaten Ben Johnson or put him in a picture with Osama bin Laden because you didn't like that he went to Chicago. Don't. It sucks. It happened. Beat his ass 2 times a year. That's what Amon-Ra said. And mind you, Amon-Ra struck down the notion that Ben Johnson wasn't prepared. He said, I know Ben, that's not the case. So he's hearing the noise you guys are creating. You don't think that's going to resonate? He loved Ben Johnson, and he just saw how all y'all treated him when he left. You don't think that's in some of these players' minds? These players loved Ben Johnson, and they just saw how y'all treated him. Y'all got to get your act together. We haven't won shit yet. You are not entitled to act like this. You're not. It sucks. Trust me, I know it sucks. It just is what it is. We move on to next year. We move on to next year. Because next year is going to be a lot different. I can't wait to see how all y'all are going to act next year when we don't win 15 games again. I can't wait to see what the noise is when we don't win 15 games and all y'all are going to be like, our defense was beat the hell up. We won 15 games. You guys can't even win 13 or whatever. Like, oh my God, I can't wait to fight a lot of y'all next year. I'm telling you, I can't wait. Because now we are becoming the villains of the league. We are getting what apparently we wanted. We are becoming the villains by how we're treating our own coaches and our own players. You don't think free agents are going to notice that? Y'all are going down. Some of y'all are going down a very bad road. And we live in a world where the loud ones, there could be 2 loud in a group of 100. In a group of 100 people, 2 of them could be the loudest, could be the nastiest. And guess what? We're going to pay attention to what those 2 people said as opposed to the rest of the 98s. So I get it. Some of this doesn't even apply to you. Some of you are good fans. I've seen some of y'all out there backing up Ben Johnson saying like, hey, we knew this was going to happen. I see y'all out there. I don't want to make it seem like this is all Lions fans. But we live in a world where the few that are the loudest are going to get more attention. And that's what's happening. I don't want to see Detroit become a place where nobody wants to go to because we're treating people like shit. We haven't won anything. We're not deserving to talk like this. Grow up. I get it. Fandom's a thing. I love my team more than anything. Sports-wise. I would give up watching every other sport, every other team, just to watch this team win a Super Bowl. I would. I really would. But I'm not going to go down that road of where all of a sudden I'm going to be attacking people that leave us because they chose better for themselves. Because these people are allowed to. It's not our fault that we kept Ben Johnson here for one more year and we didn't do anything with it. It's not his fault either. He wasn't the problem that game. You could disagree with a call or two, but guess what? We still put up 31 points. Is it his fault that the defense allowed 45 or whatever the hell it was? Nope. Jared Goff had a terrible game. Isn't it funny? And I'm gonna end it with this. Isn't it hilarious that a month ago, the city, I even addressed it, was addressing how in every sporting event across the state of Michigan, that people were annoyed about the Jared Goff chant. There has not been a single Jared Goff chant ever since the divisional game. Not a single one. That honeymoon period is over. And I get it. You want to pin it on Goff? Guess what? Goff didn't allow 45 points. Despite his mistakes, the offense still gave you 31. You want to disillusion the players on this team? Go for it. Don't be surprised when they don't want to fight for this city or for you guys anymore. Just throwing that out there. But all right, guys. Again, that's the pin on this season. I will not be talking about the Lions as much until free agency, so mid-March. And even then, we're not going to be doing big segments like how I've been doing with them. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Didn't realize we were on for nearly 2 hours. So that's my fault. So sorry, guys. At IE Sports Radio. When you're gone for 2 weeks, you have a lot you want to talk about. But thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. I love being back. It's good to talk about this. I was itching to want to do it last week, but again, just with the family stuff and the stuff with work happening, wasn't going to do it. But thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Thank you once again to everybody that reached out. Just to make sure everything was okay. I truly do appreciate you guys. IE Sports Radio is truly like a family. I can't wait till you guys see what the rest of us here at IE Sports Radio have going on this year. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up, especially Super Bowl Sunday. You guys just wait for that. That's going to be a cool day. More details about that soon. But again, thank you guys so much. Try not to get emotional because, again, just the fact that a lot of you guys reached out about what was going on last week just means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much. Again, can't say it enough. Thank you. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Make sure to give us a follow on X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. We're going to be there along with all the other great shows we got going on. We're going to be wherever you find your podcasts as well, whether that's through Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, you name it, we're going to be there. Give us a follow, or give me a follow at Gritsville_IESR through there. If you want to follow my personal account, it's there too. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're full-blown Pistons and Red Wings, baby, moving forward. Eventually, we're going to hit the Tigers. But once again, I'm going to share this message like I did the last show. For those that tuned in specifically for the Lions stuff, I appreciate you guys more than anything. I wish we could still be talking about it moving forward, but things happened the way that they did. I hope you guys continue to tune in as we talk about, Pistons, Red Wings, the college hoops, and more teams that, like I said, can't wait to start learning about the ones that are just as deserving of attention as well across the state of Michigan. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. One more time. Gritsville, USA, with your host, Christian Harvey, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.